Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to Adif Emmanuel, where we are here on this morning to celebrate one of our own, Noah Horn, becoming a bar mitzvah. And we're delighted for those of you who are able to join us on this Shabbat morning in person, and those who are joining through the blessing of technology. And if you're watching through Facebook or YouTube and are able to write in the chat or the comments, say Shabbat Shalom and just let us know where you're watching from. We'd like to know, how far away people are tuning in to Mount Laurel, New Jersey. So as I welcome you to our synagogue, though it looks like we're on a stage and you're in the audience, that's not the case at all. We are all one community. And it's just those of us on the Bima who are leading the service. I am Amy Memes-Foler, along with Sandy Messenger-Aguilar, who are leading, I mostly the reading parts, she mostly the singing parts, and of course with Noah. And we need all of you as a community to participate. So if you don't already have your prayer book, which we call in Hebrew a Siddur, take that out. That's the thin book in the seat in front of you. Unless you're in the first row, then it's under your seat. You can get a Siddur out. And you can follow along when we announce the pages in the brackets or the blue numbers. And we just want to make sure if you have a thicker copy, then the number page will be what we call out. And if you have a thinner copy, you just want to make sure it says Shabbat on it, so we're all literally on the same page. So when God was speaking to Moses at Mount Sinai about to give the 10 Commandments to the Israelite people, God said, "Moses, this is a very sacred and holy occasion. Speak to the Israelites and say to them, this is a holy and special occasion. And tell them, be sure that your cell phones are turned to the off or silent mode." And thus Moses spoke to the Israelites and said, "Be sure that your cell phones are turned to the off or silent position." And thus the Israelites took out their cell phones, or checked for them, even if they thought they left them in the tent, and double-checked and triple-checked to be sure they were in the silent or off position. And God said to Moses, "And furthermore, there shall be no photography nor texting during this holy and sacred occasion." And so it was. Seriously, folks, if you have an emergency and you do need to use your phone, please step out into the foyer and hopefully you will be able to join us as quickly as possible back in the sanctuary. We're delighted that you are here this morning as we begin on page 128, with the singing of Ma Yafeh Hayom. We continue on page 287, as we read responsively. "We give thanks to you, O God, for this Shabbat day, which unites us as a community of faith and hope, for the holiness of Shabbat, which can lead us to fulfill the best that is in us, we give thanks. for the memories of Shabbat enriched by generations of our people who observed it and from it drew courage to face hardship and light to banish darkness, we are grateful. We offer thanks for the peace of Shabbat, the day consecrated to family love. O God, our turning to you exalts our humanity. You are the joy of our life, the source of its greatness, its power, and its beauty. Help us, O God, to find inspiration for the coming week. Help us to find peace within ourselves and with one another. And it's my pleasure now to call to the bima Noah's parents, Miriam and Robert, who are going to present Noah with his talit.
As I wrap myself in the talit, I fulfill the mitzvah of my Creator. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to wrap ourselves in the fringes.
Hugs are appropriate. You want to give hugs? Nah.
Side hug. What? May my life be one link in a chain of goodness. As I say the prayers of my ancestors, help me to recall their devotion and faithfulness, their joy and suffering which are in every word. Holiness is my heritage. May I be worthy of it. May our tradition live in me and pass from me to generations I shall never know, enriched by the truth I have found and the good deeds I have done. So may I fulfill my task on earth and receive my blessing. And when the service ends and the prayers have ceased, help me to bring their spirit into the world in which I live. May I love God above all and my neighbor as myself, and be a living witness to the truth that never changes.
We continue on page 290, 290, Ma Tovu.
Israel, Pani
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a divinely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware, we would lack the strength to sustain life before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. We continue on page 293.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasechvi bina lehavkin ben yom uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeh ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokev kebufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rokah haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadei kaber. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten haya'ef koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hama'abir sheina me'einai utnuma me'avabai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shesani b'tselem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shesani bat chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shesani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvurav. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifarav.
We continue at the bottom of page 296.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with the words of Torah. Please turn to page 313 and rise. Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach, Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes, more welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give the morning, my Torah, my special human gift. Bring my words forth from silence, welcome them, you who redeems the sun from darkness. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer Hamurot. We read responsibly on page 317. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age, your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity.
We give thanks for the sages and teachers.
May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passions for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael ba'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Malhutov Le'olam Va'ed. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Malhutov Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha v'chayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher nochi mesavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'letecha v'derech u'shochbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam la'ot al yadecha v'chayu latotafot bein einecha u'ktavtam al mizuzot beitecha u'visharecha Lama'an tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hoseiti etchem me'eretz Misraim lechiot lechem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem.
As we continue at the bottom of page 319, it's my honor to call Ann Goodman to lead us in this prayer.
Love Adonai, your God, with every heartbeat, with every breath, and with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God.
We continue on page 321. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, a song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. We rise as we are able for tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tifta ufia giti filatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagior Anora, El Elyon, Gomal Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'soher Stei Avot V'imachot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neichem, Lama'an Shemo V'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Mogei, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה כל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד אתה. מקלקל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על נביאך, וכרוז אל זב אמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מתיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו מלכנו, ראש.
May be seated as we continue on page 329.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם ישמעו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת, כקוראי עונג שבת. והשביר רצית בו, רצית וקידשתו שבת, ודוד ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת. למעשה בראשית שבת, למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת.
We continue on page 330. It's my pleasure to call to the bima Gail Corti.
On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves and the charity to see the best in those around us. Give us patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us, and may our offerings be acceptable to you.
We continue on page 332. As we pray this prayer of gratitude, I invite you to join me on the refrain, Modim Anachnu Lach, which means we give you thanks. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations, Modim Anachnu Lach. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons, Modim Anachnu Lach. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements, Modim Anachnu Lach. For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression, Modim Anachnu Lach. For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared, Modim Anachnu Lach. For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom, Modim Anachnu Lach. For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose, Modim Anachnu Lach. We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. We continue our prayer now silently, whether we are led by the words on the pages of our Siddur, of our prayer book through page 337, or other prayers throughout the Siddur, or those meditations and thoughts in our hearts.
No, I was very proud to sit here this morning. You performed great, and I knew that. And in your honor, I wrote this prayer. May the words heal the red soul.
As we turn now in our prayer books to page 363 for Seder Kriyat HaTorah, it's my pleasure to welcome to the Bima at this time those who are helping with our Ark, opening it. I welcome Mira and Levi Grin, as well as those who are participating in the Chain of Traditions, Boris Kazansky and Miriam and Robert, and of course, Noah. And we turn to page 363, we rise. So Noah, I'm holding in my arms Sefer Torah. It's actually a special Torah for us here at Ad of Emmanuel, as we just finished, commissioning this, and you're probably the first person to read from your Torah portion ever in this Torah scroll. And so this is it's a very special Torah scroll. Also, metaphorically, this is special because you're standing in a line now with your parents and your grandfather, and those who stand in this line, generation by generation, who go back through the gift of memory, all the way back to Moses standing at Sinai with God. And I think about, what if there was one generation that said, we're not going to teach Torah to our children, to the next generation. We couldn't be standing here today to place this Torah scroll in your arms. And just in the short time I've got to know you, I know that the Torah scroll is in good hands, as we from Lador Vador, through this chain of tradition, pass this Torah to you, as your grandfather and your parents recite these words.
Whatever has befallen us, our people have remained steadfast in loyalty to the Torah. It was carried in the arms of parents to their children, who might not be deprived of their birthright.
And now we pray that you, Noah, may always be worthy of this inheritance. Take its teachings into your heart, and in turn pass it on to your children and those who come after you. May you be a faithful Jew, searching for wisdom and truth, working for justice and peace.
Ki
may be seated.
Yes, I start here.
Our Torah portion for this Shabbat is called Ki Tetzei, and it comes from the book of Deuteronomy. Noah's going to be reading from chapter 22, verse 1 and following. And if you'd like to follow along, you can do so in what we call the Chumash, the Torah commentary. It's that thicker Torah book in front of you, and that'll be on page 1485, 1485, Deuteronomy 22, verse 1 and following. And for the first aliyah, we call Boris Kazansky, Nala Amod, Beryl ben Shimon v'Bella, Levarech ala Torah, aliyah rishona.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMavorach.
Baruch Adonai havarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Lo tir'eh et shor, achicha o et seyo, idahim v'hitalamta mehem hashev teshivim, le'achicha ve'im lo karov, achicha v'chein lo yadato, v'asafto el toch, betecha v'haya, imcha ad derosh, achicha oto, v'ashevoto lo.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
As we call for the second aliyah, we invite Jordan Horn and Rebecca Kazansky. Nala Amod, Yarden ben Reuven u'Miriam, v'Rivka bat Beryl v'Leah, levarech ala Torah, aliyah shniya.
Baruch et Adonai HaMavorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'chein ta'aseh l'cha moro, v'chein ta'aseh l'sim lato, v'chein ta'aseh l'cha avedat, achicha asher to'avad, imenu umsata lo tuchal hitalem. Lo tir'eh et chamor, achicha o shonro, noflim baderech, v'hitalamta mehem hakem takim imo.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Yeshua. And you can stand on the other side of Noah. For our third aliyah, we call Noah's parents, Miriam and Robert. Nala Amod, Miriam bat Beryl v'Leah, v'Reuven ben Dorit v'Emmanuel, levarech ala Torah, aliyah shlishit.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Lo yihiyeh chali gever al isha Lo Yubash, Gever Simlat, Isha Ki Toavat, Adonai Elohecha, Kol Osei Ela. Ki Yikarei, Kain Sipur, Lefanecha, Baderech V'chol Eitz, Al Ha'eretz, Ephrochim, Al Beitzim, V'ha'eim, Rovet Set, Al Ha'ephrochim, Al Ha'beitzim, Lo Tikach Ha'eim, Al Habanim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
And for our next aliyah, we call our bar mitzvah Noah. Nala amod, nala amod, nala amod, bachor habar mitzvah, Noach ben Reuven Miriam, chazak chazak v'nid chazek.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Shaleach tishalach et ha'em ve'et habanim, tikach lach lama'an yitav lach v'harachta yamim. Ki tivneh ba'it chadash v'asita ma'akeh v'gagecha v'lo tasim damim bevetecha ki yipol hanofel mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Simen tovu, mazel tovu, simen tov, simen tovu, mazel tovu, simen tovu, mazel tovu, simen tov, Yehelanu, 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 Uleko Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Uleko Yisrael. Simen tovu, mazel tovu, simen tov, simen tovu, mazel tovu, simen tov, simen tovu, mazel tovu, simen tov, Yehelanu.
Hey, I'm doing it?
Not yet.
Okay.
So we turn our thoughts and prayers now to those who are in need of healing. And so we turn in our prayer book to page 371. And I would invite anyone who is thinking of somebody who's in need of healing, whether that healing is a physical healing or spiritual healing, to hold that person in our hearts. And if you'd like to mention that person's name aloud, or those people's name aloud at this time, I'd invite you to stand if you're able in place. And then as my glance meets yours through the sanctuary, you can mention that person's name. If you're watching through the blessing of technology and want to mention their name in the chat and are able to do so, you can do then. For those who have names to add, I would invite you to rise at this time. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. As we are able, we rise as we lift and dress Torah.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. My name is Noah Horn, and I hope you already know that since you happen to be here for my bar mitzvah. But right now, I'm going to introduce you to my Torah portion, which is called Ki Teitzei. Ki Teitzei is a part of the book of Deuteronomy and is about different commandments and rules of the Torah. Some of Ki Teitzei talks about rules that may not apply to today's rules, but may relate to others. For example, if you find something lost like an animal or an object that belongs to someone else, then you should take it home until the owner claims it. If it's a living thing, then you should bring it to your house and take care of it, like give it food and water. If the owner does not claim it, you should research and find the owner and bring it to the owner. My Torah portion also describes many different situations of a person having choices about what to do with things they find. For example, you can go to a field or vineyard and take what you need to eat that day, but you cannot harvest all the food that someone else has grown. You need to respect that person. You also need to respect yourself. If you don't take good care of yourself, for example, if you are lazy, you eat very junky, or you waste your time instead of working on becoming your best, those are ways of not respecting yourself. A part of my Torah portion also talks about what happens when a son doesn't respect his parents. They will bring the son to the center of town to death. And in my opinion, that does not sound like a pleasant way to die. I just wanted to thank my mom and dad for when I do something wrong, instead of stoning me to death, they ground me and take my phone away. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Anyways, the overall theme of my Torah portion is to respect others yourself. I decided, because I've always connected and loved animals, that for my Mitzvah project, I should help animals that were once abused or something bad had happened to them. I did this by helping cute goats, horses, donkeys, chickens, roosters, and many more animals live the best life they could at an animal farm rescue in Southampton, named Muddy Post Farm. Before I go there, I feed them, clean out their water containers, clean out their pens, and give them attention. It makes me feel happy. It's therapeutic for me. I enjoy knowing I'm helping the animals live a good life. Really amazing people and animals there if you would like to visit. treated or harmed. For me, volunteering at Muddy Paws Farm made me feel like in some small way I can make a big difference for these animals that have once suffered so they don't have to anymore. Search muddypawsfarmrescue.org if you want more information. I would now like to thank some people who had helped me throughout my bar mitzvah experience. First, I want to thank my amazing tutor, Larry Marcus. He helped me so much in so many ways. He helped me out by teaching me my prayers and chants that I needed to know for my bar mitzvah. He gave me motivation and tips on how to get better at memorizing things and slowing down so my speech is better. One of his many quotes that he told me over 1,000 times was, "It's not about how much you do, but it's about how well you do it." I enjoyed working with Larry because he was patient and he was very organized, and instead of just working, he made it fun by joking around with me and connecting with me like a good friend would. Next, I would like to thank Rabbi Memes Folder. She helped me to organize and clarify my thoughts for my Devar Torah, the speech. She checked in with me about my progress on my speech and the prayers and helped me feel confident and prepared for my bar mitzvah. I am very proud to be Rabbi Memes Folder's first bar mitzvah at Addis. Next, I would like to thank Cantor Sandy. She helped me practice for my bar mitzvah when I was in Hebrew school at the beginning of this year. She also found a great tutor for me, Larry Marcus. I also appreciate Cantor Sandy for assisting me with my final bar mitzvah practice and singing beautifully at the service. Next, I would like to thank my brother Jordan. He didn't really help me with my bar mitzvah, but he did help me throughout the years. He played with me a lot and showed me what and what not to do with my life. We had and will have many memories that will never be forgotten. Even though we annoy each other every day, he's still my favorite and only brother. Love you, Jordan. Now I want to thank my grandpa, who I call Da. Da to me is like a best friend, a teacher, someone who I look up to, and is one of my greatest supporters and motivators. He's taught me how to stand up for myself, how to live properly, how to meditate, how to be at peace with myself, and a lot more. He also tutored me for my bar mitzvah and taught me the true meaning of my prayers. I'm extremely grateful that I have a grandpa who I can joke around with and be goofy with. Thank you, Da. Last but definitely not least, I would like to thank my mom and dad. I could go on and on for days, but right now, I'm just going to thank them for what they did for my bar mitzvah. My dad drove me to Muddy Paws Farm and to my tutoring sessions and volunteered with me at Muddy Paws Farm. My mom helped tutor me and arrange so many details for my bar mitzvah. They were both planned and the entire bar mitzvah for me. I also want to once again thank them for not stoning me to death when I misbehave. I also want to thank all of you for coming and being present for my bar mitzvah. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
So thank you, Noah, for sharing those insights with us, especially a wonderful message about respecting everyone. And the verse I like to pick up on that you didn't teach us about today is the one you read and it's really strange. If you see a nest with the mother bird either on the baby birds or on the eggs, before you take away those baby birds or the eggs, you're supposed to shoo the mother bird away. And rabbis throughout time have interpreted this as this really is showing a kindness to animals, which is very closely connected to the mitzvah work you've done, and I know that you're going to continue to do because you share that with me at least. And there's an expression in Hebrew called kal v'chomer, which means all the more so, that when we show kindness toward animals, all the more so should we show kindness to people. And I think that you've also demonstrated that in the words that you taught about how it's important to respect everyone. What's also really interesting about that verse is usually when we're told to do a mitzvah in the Torah, it just says, you shall do this, you shall not do this. In that particular mitzvah, it says, shoo the mother bird away so that you may long endure on the earth, so that you should have a long life. And it's such a strange thing. Why would shooing a mother bird away from a nest give somebody a long life? Well, so what commentators do is they say that's a strange phrase or a strange situation. Where else do we see this? We see that exact phrase in the 10 Commandments, and under which commandment? The commandment that says, honor your father and your mother. Why? So that you may have a long life, which is also strange. If I'm going to honor my father and my mother, or you're going to honor your father and your mother so that you're going to have a long life, well, I get it if you honor them and you take care of them and they're, let's say, they're older age, that might have them have a long life, but how does it make us have a long life? Because, as we've seen, Lador Vador, from generation to generation, when we see the way the generation before us treats others, if you honor your parents, then the generation that comes after you will see how you've treated them, and in turn, that generation that comes after you will treat you and your generation with kindness, and then you will have long life. So I pray that you have a very long life and continue to do the things that you do in contributing to our world. We could see, although I wouldn't know if Noah were nervous at all or uncomfortable, you led our service this morning with great poise, with great joy, with great fun. You've shown us how to be a Jew in the midst of these prayers and to really enjoy Judaism. And I see you as a role model in that way. I have to tell you, I was nervous because, as you mentioned, this is my first bar mitzvah at Addit. But I'm also glad to share with you something else. You don't know this, but Noah and I are twins. We have the same birthday. And so I'm going to remember that for a long, long time, so that maybe we both will long endure on this earth. And so now it's my pleasure to call you back up to the bima. So proud of all you've done today as we honor you with words of Shechianu for your becoming bar mitzvah, for this being both our first as the congregation joins us. So I'm going to invite Jordan to come and lead us in this honor.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, for keeping us alive, for taking care of us, and for allowing us to reach a special day of my brother's bar mitzvah.
Amen.
Amen.
And so now I'm going to invite your parents up for them to offer this blessing to you.
Noah, explore and embrace who you are. May you find the balance between standing apart and being in connection with others. We hope that you will be blessed to find meaningful, fulfilling work, just as Dad and I have. Know that you have the ability to make a significant positive impact on this earth.
Noah, you have a huge heart and deep empathy for all living things. May you continue to be kind, compassionate, and accepting both of others and yourself. Do not let thoughtless insensitivity and negativity of others bring you down. May you be a blessing for everyone you encounter.
When you are struggling or down, you have shown the ability to balance and center yourself. May you continue to be receptive to spiritual wisdom and guidance and be able to trust your inner wisdom as well.
We hope that you can forgive your parents our imperfections. As we strive to be better people and parents, know that our love for you is deep, constant, and unconditional.
Noah, look around the sanctuary, absorbing the love and support of family and friends. May you always find sustenance, joy, motivation, and comfort in our rich traditions and community.
We turn now to page 374, as we're able. We rise as we return the Torah to the ark. Continue on page 586. 586. As we turn our thoughts and prayers now to those who are no longer with us, we turn in our Siddur to pages 598 and 599 as we think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at the season in years past, whose yahrzeits we mark on the Shabbat, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. We remember especially those who are close to the hearts of the Horn family: Lilia Kazansky, Dorothy and Emery Horn, Simon and Bella Perelstein, Clara Dudnick and David Gusak, Marina Grin. And if you are thinking of someone at this time and would like to mention their name aloud, if you're watching through the blessing of technology, please feel free to add their names into our chat as you're able. And if you're here in the sanctuary and would like to rise as my glance meets yours, you can mention aloud that person's name. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for blessing as we all rise now as one congregation, continuing with the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvot mechon, u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei Shemei Rabba Mevarach Leolam Omei Omaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Dekudasha B'richu, Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tush B'chata V'nechemata, Ta'amiran B'alma V'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us say, amen. You may be seated. Noah, I'd like to call you back on the bima to offer you some gifts from the congregation. So I already said my words of kvelling and how proud I am of you. I just want to add a mazel tov to your family, your parents, your brother, your grandfather, and all those people who are here and quite proud of you. I have here several gifts from the synagogue. They come from the generosity of our men's club, our sisterhood, and our board of trustees in the congregation. And may these be gifts that you use over and over again. And as you make use of them, you remember the specialness and the joy of the day. This is a Kiddush cup. These are candlesticks. And this is a Torah commentary book. Mazel tov. And so we are going to invite your mom to join us now onto the bima, as the two of you lead us in the closing song. So do you find it for that?
It can be found on page 647.
I'll stand up here.
Oseh Shalom.
I'm turning. Yeah, it's okay. Good.
Oseh shalom miromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom miromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom miromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Me'aha Israel. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Me'aha Israel.
We're going to continue with, stay up here, Miriam, because I'd like to invite Jordan and Robert to join us on the bima as we conclude with our Kiddush and Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Chaim, you can take the honor of the sip. Baruch atah Adonai